Stuck between a libertarian and a Republican. Welcome to Publitarian Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian, coming at you again with another episode of Publitarian Podcast. And we are up to episode number 82. And this is Publitarian at the beach. Yes, I am literally at the beach while I'm recording this. There was some work being done at my house, and I had a window of opportunity to actually record this podcast, so I said, okay, I am going for it. So that's what's happening now. So I'll be doing this without any editing or any script, so any ums and ers and unfortunate mouth noise or whatever will be included in this edition of the podcast. So anyway, this will basically be unscripted, and I was just going to run through some quick news of the day and observations while I had time to do so. And it's crazy what's going on. Had a hurricane, but not really a hurricane, passed through where I live in the penis of America. It looks like it's making its way up to the Carolinas in New York right now. Isaias, however you say it, I don't know. So prayers for all the people in its path up that way. We just happened to miss it. We barely even got any rain where I was at. But anyway, you didn't tune in for a weather report. So here we go. Big news of the day. I don't like to recycle other people's podcasts. But the great Bongino, who I do quote every now and then, was talking about how he has a source that has told him that Joe Biden's mental decline is worse than what we're thinking, and that Joe Biden is not, in fact, going to be the Democratic nominee. Now, that source basically said what I think all of us were thinking, because you've seen him. You've seen him doing his lives and his, broadcasts from the basement. We know he's not there. We just didn't know to what degree. But according to this source, who is with insiders within the Biden campaign, they're like, not only is he not there, I mean, he's just really not there. Like, they don't know what they're going to do with him. And I didn't mean to be like Nostradamus, but what if, like this time, what was it, a year ago, or maybe, 6 months ago, when I was talking about Kamala Harris, and I'm like, that's the one that scares me. That's the one that I would really be scared of being president. What if Biden picks her for a VP, and then she would be it? I would hate that I would be Nostradamus and make that come true. So I'm hoping that's not the case. But now that I heard this bit of information, I don't even know if it's going to make it that far. But before we all do a victory lap and celebrate what may or may not be happening, I don't mean celebrating Joe Biden's cognitive decline. I would never celebrate something like that. I just meant like a political victory, like Trump's got an easier way through. Well, what might happen is the DNC might meet and say, okay, well, obviously we're going to have to do something different here. Biden's not going to be able to carry us across the finish line. So what are we going to do? And then guess what? They have a candidate that they can just shove forward that has not had to go through months and months and months of right-wing media scrutiny. The reason I say right-wing media is because, the left-wing media will not do their job, and they're not going to field the candidate any tough questions. So that could be a nightmare scenario that might be happening. So I guess time will tell. I do like the 4D chess that Trump was playing. He tweeted a few days ago, like, oh, well, this is really serious. Maybe we need to hold off on the elections. And everybody left and right lost their mind and started, Chicken Little sky is falling and running around and screaming until their heads fell off. And I do like I always do when Trump tweets. I just sit back and laugh. And I'm like, you still don't get it. After how many years, you guys still don't get how this guy operates and what he does. He's playing 4D chess like he always does. Because if he pushes this issue and he's like, oh, well, masks are good, masks stop the spread, okay, well, then we can have the election. And then people go, no, it's not safe. Oh, it's not safe? You're saying it's not safe. Okay, well, if it's not safe, then let's hold off on the election and I get to be president for longer. So which is it? Can we vote? Can we go vote? Masks work? Or is it not safe? We can't have an election. What do you think? See, either way, he wins in that scenario. And I just don't know why people they still don't get who he is or how he operates. So anyway, also, something that I have been hoping that the president would tackle for a long time. He just signed an executive order last night knocking down the abuse of H-1B visas. And what that is, if you don't know, it's big corporations have been taking advantage of this for years and using this visa loophole where they bring in an Indian worker and pay them basically slave wage just so they can get in on a visa. And the way that visa program was originally supposed to work was if you could not find a qualified American to do the job, you could hire an immigrant on a visa program and, of course, pay them significantly less money. So the corporations basically all started lying and go, oh, darn, no Americans are qualified for this job. That's a shame. I guess we're just going to have to get some foreign labor in here. Man, darn, that is just a shame. And so they've been doing this for years and years and years and years now. So that I was very excited to see that executive order that just goes part and parcel with Trump's America First agenda. I didn't really mean to make this a big Trump-heavy episode, but it looks like that's how it's shaping up, shooting from the hip today on this podcast. Yeah, so that's happening. There was another win in the courts for the wall being built. There's another 300 miles of wall that's been sanctioned to be built now. There was some scuffle about where the money was going to come from, and the courts shockingly sided with the president. And so now that money has been that was set aside, I believe, for defense spending. I don't have my notes in front of me. Can now be used for wall construction. So the wall going up, as Jesse Lee Peterson says. And so yet another, promises made, promise kept. The only thing that I can think of that Trump has not been able to deliver on, just off the top of my head, has been the repeal and replacement of Obamacare. And you can't really lay that at Trump's feet. Because every Republican in the 2016 cycle ran on replacing and repealing Obamacare, and then piece of shit John McCain to stab at Trump thumbs downed it, and then it didn't happen. So it was kind of a failure on Republican leadership. I know, surprise, surprise, and not on Trump. And I know I've covered this in other podcasts, but it's a shame, but it's just how it is. Continue to vote Republican, because if you vote Libertarian, you're throwing your vote away. I don't care what anybody says. And if you vote for Democrat, you're going to 100%, almost 100% guarantee you're going to get a Democrat. At least when you vote Republican, you have a 50-50 shot of getting a Republican. So, yeah. Anyway, so I can't really hang that around Trump's neck. Other than that, he's pretty much been like a straight shooter. And it's funny, the never Trumpers and people that just get scared at the first tweet, jump off the Trump train, and then you have to welcome them back in 2 weeks later. And there's a lot of prominent people that jumped off the Trump train, and I don't know why. He's it. He's our guy right now. Like him or not, he's the only gladiator in the stadium that has your interests at heart. Trump, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Florida guy, shout out. Really, you're saying Ronald, give me some senators and congressmen that I know like, have America's best interests at heart. That's it. I know there's others, but the point I'm trying to make is when I'm saying this is, like, Trump's name will come to my mind just like that. Yeah, definitely has America's best interests at heart. Okay, Ronald, name me some congressmen, or congresswomen. Name me some senators that have America's best interests at heart. Yeah, exactly my point. So he's it, whether you like it or not. He is the gladiator. The Publitarian drink of the day is a Coca-Cola. And not to draw, like, biblical comparisons to Trump, because don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing Trump to Jesus Christ or the Messiah or anything like that. But I was just sitting here thinking, like, people, like, if you believe in the Bible, let's even say you don't for a minute, just take the biblical story for what it is. People in biblical times, like the Israelites, or the Jewish people in the New Testament, rejected God himself, like the creator of the universe. Hey, I'll be your king. No. We want a human king. Well, I created the universe. I'll be happy to be your king. No, we need a human king. Old Testament. New Testament. Where's the Messiah? We need the Messiah. Okay. Here's the Messiah. Here I am. No, not you. You're not what we envisioned. Again, I'm not saying Trump is the Messiah, but it's I'm drawing a comparison because when I see, like, the years of people on our political side of the aisle going, we need somebody that's not a politician. We need somebody that's just like a person that's not beholden to Washington and Washington politics. We need somebody that does what they say they're going to do. We need somebody that it's going to be action and not talk. And Trump pops out on the scene. Okay, here I am. Well, no, not him. No. That's not what I want. I want, like, this idea of a politician, this ideal that I've created of a politician. Well, you just said you wanted somebody that does what he says he's going to do, is not a trained politician, did not come up from the swamps of Washington, D.C., and somebody that's an actual fighter that will take on the media. How many times did we hear this during the Bush years? He never takes the media on. He never fights back. He just falls for their narratives. And here's the guy. He doesn't fall for the media's narrative, says what he thinks, does what he says he's going to do, and yet people on my side of the aisle are still, well, no, not him. I didn't mean him. I meant, somebody else. So I say again, not comparing Trump to Jesus. Don't take don't take that away. What I'm saying is people ask for things, and then when they get the thing, they either don't appreciate the thing or they don't realize that they have the thing that they asked for. It's very frustrating. Anyway, Trump tirades aside. See, I don't have any notes because I am doing this with a mobile studio and I have no notes in front of me. It's a shame because this app actually does a really good job of recording a podcast, and I think of, like, I actually legit have Publitarian studio. Like, it's an actual studio that I set up and I professionally record with recording software, and mics and all this stuff, and then I get a pretty decent result just using my phone. It's kind of frustrating. Anyway, what else is going on? Ghislaine Maxwell dropped a big bomb through depositions, named a bunch of names, and now that she's named some names, was specific. It's not that she's dropping the bombs, but the witnesses in the cases have been dropping the bombs. Virginia Guthrie, I can't remember her name. But anyway, a lot of witnesses are coming forward. We're hearing testimonies now. Funny enough, Ghislaine Maxwell is still alive. I thought she was going to die mysteriously like Epstein did. And so we now know through testimony what we've already known, and that Bill Clinton liked his underage girls and was in the Epstein flight logs 26 times. Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, that was surprising, but I mean, his name's in there. Dershowitz, of course, is denying it. The rest of them are just being quiet. There's a lot of people that are just being quiet now. It's weird. Tom Hanks and his wife are trying to become Greek citizens. They left for Greece. All of the talk shows, like the left-wing talk shows, are either on hiatus or there's, internal strife and storms happening. So there's a big shakeup. And if you had asked me years ago what I thought about all these quote-unquote right-wing conspiracy theories, I would honestly just have to take them all with a grain of salt. But now, 2020's been wild, y'all. The Pentagon has said, yes, there's UFOs. Yes, there's off-world vehicles. Yes, there was a sex cult that got taken down where people were branded as sex cultists, literally branded with a branding, device. Yes, there's elite pedophiles. Yes, there's child sex trafficking. I think the only thing we have left is Alex Jones lizard people. And Rob from Wise Guy Show, if you're listening, I already hear you doing your Alex Jones voice back to me. I can just hear you doing it. It's really the only thing left now is the reptilians. It's the only thing that hasn't been disproven. So I'm waiting for the reptilians to make an appearance now and shed their human skins and go, yes, it was us all the time. So, yeah. 2020 has been wild. Did not see any of this coming. I saw chaos and turmoil coming because the Democrats and the liberal media do that every election cycle. Whenever there's an election cycle, if their guy's not in power, they have to gin up the chaos. That way you're bombarded with chaos daily. And so what do you do when there's chaos? It's like your natural human inclination to switch politicians. Okay, well, if this is what happens under this person, we need to have another person. So a lot of it is orchestrated. I would not go as far to say as the coronavirus was orchestrated. What I would say is the classic line from Rahm Emanuel, ex-Obama acolyte and was the mayor of Chicago. Never let a good crisis go to waste. He famously said that, and that's what Democrats do. So yeah, the Wu flu is the real thing, but the management of it via crisis via media has been crazy. Speaking of coronavirus, something that I will part ways with my right-wing brethren and sisterin on is the issue of schools and even Trump. I've seen Trump say, yeah, we need to open up the schools. And people on my side of the aisle, yeah, we need to open the schools back up. And I'm sitting over here you guys have done nothing but bitch about the public school system for decades. And now there's a chance for us to starve the beast and you want them to open again? This is the time to be looking at private schooling and homeschooling. Now, if private schools are locked down, yes, open up the schools. But as far as public schools go, yeah, starve the beast. Look into private school, charter schools, or any kind of religious schools, even if you're not religious. and homeschooling options. That way you're getting kids out of their government indoctrination centers. Teachers are basically throwing a temper tantrum because they want more money. Down here in my state, teachers are trying to sue Governor DeSantis because they want the schools to remain closed. And a lot of people are saying this is about money. And when public school teachers bitch about money, I always think like, A, you picked that job. You knew what a teacher made. It's no big secret. You can look it up. And B, though, the teachers always want to shake down the public, the taxpayers, for more money. And when I had Alex Newman on my podcast, I talked about this. Also, Red Pill Teacher, when I talked about the education system. The money is there. We spend a lot of money on education. Like, a lot. Thousands and thousands per child. It's just the money is not making its way to you, teachers. So if you want more money, you need to be bitching at the admins that are making six-figure salaries. The money's just not making its way to you. If you shake down the public for more money, you may get a few extra pennies, but the bulk of that money is not going to go to you. Sorry, I just went on this whole dovetail about teachers and education. It wasn't even something that I really wanted to talk about. But that's what I think the pressure is about, trying to keep the schools closed so they can shake down for more money, and then also they can continue to get paid and not have to work. There has been overseas studies, an Icelandic study and a German study, or one of the Nordic countries as well as Germany, showing that kids don't spread the coronavirus like we think they do. Now, a study came out yesterday, but I just heard it in passing, so I wasn't even able to research it, that says that no, kids really do spread the coronavirus. That may just be one of those Hail Mary studies that happens when something's getting ready to happen so they can politically alter the landscape. So apologies for even bringing that up because I wasn't able to research it. But even if you just DuckDuckGo search results in kids and coronavirus, you'll even get left-wing studies and MSNBC and pediatricians saying that kids don't, spread this. So, I think that's going to do it for me. Yeah, we're already at a 20-minute podcast. So yeah, that will do it for me on this edition of Publitarian Podcast. Thank you so much for your listenership. My podcast numbers have been going up. My Instagram followers have been going up. I don't know if Zuck the Cuck has taken the break off of my account or what, but appreciate it anyway. Also, a friend of a friend has a little baby boy that was born that's going to need a lot of surgeries. His name is Patrick. I put the GoFundMe link in my bio on my Instagram. They need $25,000 for surgery. I appreciate the generosity of my listeners because they were literally at, a few grand. And we've gotten that thing up to I think 15,000 last time I checked. If you can give to that, it would be most appreciated. It's a young couple, and they're just having a tough time of it. Like I said, I don't know them personally. It's just a friend of a friend, and their little baby's going to need a lot of surgeries. So if you can give to that, it would be most appreciated. Anyway, that will do it for me on this edition of Publitarian Podcast. If you want to reach out to me, you can. I'm publitarian@gmail.com or thepublitarian@gmail.com. I am on all the social medias. I've been busier on Parler. I've been getting a lot of Parler followers lately. Yeah, so that will do it for me. Take it easy, and we'll see you on the next edition of Publitarian Podcast.